share screen. So you will have to give me the share screen facility when I'm presenting.
She will do it, Madam.
Right. She'll just have to make me co-host and I'll be able to share screen.
Yes, Madam.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Chennai Menopause Society, I take this opportunity in welcoming you all to this webinar on care of mind, mood, and memory in menopausal women. I would like to welcome our Chief Guest, Dr. Ragini Agarwal, and Guest of Honor, Dr. Swarna Kumari ma'am, who have spared their precious time for us in spite of the busy schedule. I would also like to welcome our President CMS, Chairperson, and speakers, and all the delegates to this webinar. I request our President CMF, Dr. Shanti Gunasingh madam, to give the welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Ma'am, you are on mute.
Yeah. Good evening. We are having our webinar since we took over, and we really thought in menopausal women, brain health is not being addressed to as much as it really needs to be. And so that was the reason why this webinar was put through. And we have brilliant speakers for that too. And we are very happy to have Dr. Ragini Agarwal, a long-time friend of mine, who was our past president, Foxy, and who's also very actively involved in IMS and now contesting also for post. So I'm really very happy to have Dr. Ragini Agarwal with us here. And all the more, I feel blessed to have our Swarna Kumari madam with us, who is a senior member and who has been really very active. She has really inspired many youngsters, and I'm really happy to have Dr. Swarna Kumari as guest of honor. And we have a lot of chairpersons who are actually youngsters who will take over CMS from us and guide it well. Dr. Gauri Meena, Dr. Kartika Prabhu, our eminent avid quizzer, then our Mohana Pramila, who's really our dance youth. So all these people have really, it is nice to have all of you all. And of course, the main talk, Dr. Preetika Chari madam's talk on resilience. We all know that madam is really a pillar of resilience and has been a life coach. We are really very, very happy and proud to have you here as our speaker. And we also know that it is very important to address mind and mood in menopausal women. So I welcome Dr. Sujata Velmurugan, who's joining us for that. And she's going to make it as an interactive session. And we also have a talk on holistic approach to mental health care in menopausal women. Our own CMS member, an eminent homeopathic doctor, Dr. Kushali Gambhir, we have her here to speak about that. So we are really proud of all our chairpersons, chief guest of honor, and our speakers. And it's really nice to have all of you all here. And I think we will start our program. Rajalakshmi? Sahiti, can the prayer song? Yes, Amma. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
திசையும் புகழ் வணங்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழ்
we will have the
I
awesome
request.
lighting.
Oh, how sweet.
I request Dr. Nandita Thakkar Madam for to render midlife prayer.
Good evening. At the midlife prayer, we pray to God to give us grace to accept midlife physical changes and gently renew our strength. Guide our heart, our mind, and body to navigate the way, and our trust in you to lead us safely through. We pray for midlife and mature women who cherish the fond moments of their life, and also for those sitting in the doctor's chair and who are in bed asking for healing touch. On this day, may all the midlife and menopausal women have the gift of joy, hope, and good health. Thank you, God, for the promises of hope you hold out to all midlife and menopausal women and inspire us to give this gift.
Thank you, ma'am. I kindly request our Chief Gift, Dr. Ragini Agarwal Madam, to address the delegates and release our Mother 6.
We are really very happy to have her here. And she's Director A Derma Science, Complete Clinic for Women Health, Gurgaon, and Director of Department of OB-GYN, Cloud9. And she was our Dynamic Vice President, Foxy, in 2020, and Founder President, North India Gynae Forum. And she's very much interested in cosmetic gynecology, and has a fellowship in that, and she's actively practicing it too. Founder president of lot of organizations, and so she really has kindled the academic and service activity in her place, and she's patron Gurugram Menopause Society, IMA, and she's chairperson Public and Social Awareness, IMA 2022-23, and project director GOGS, Rural Maternal and Adolescent Girl Health Vision, and a project director for Pratiksha Women Cancer Prevention Awareness Drive. So more than that, she's the mother of an eminent son who studied in Kilpock Medical College with us a long time ago. Welcome, Dr. Ragini. Kindly address the gathering.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shanti, for this invitation. Namaskar to each and everyone. And I'm seeing Dr. Vedika Chari. She seems to be a very senior person. Literally, I'm overwhelmed with this invitation because I don't think I'm the person to call for the chief guest. But thank you, Dr. Shanti, Dr. Hepsi, Dr. Meera, for giving me this opportunity. Because for me, menopause is just a phase of life. We start as an adolescent, and with this, every padao we pass, and ultimately, with the longevity, we all reach to the menopause. But we don't want to be live like a woman who is dependent on others. We don't want to be live like that. Now we are not living, we are just passing the time on the earth. So none of us want that. I think that is the philosophy of Indian Menopause Society. And we all here, we are active and we are propagating the same message to everyone. And today's topic is really awesome because when we talk about the menopause, we talk about the mental health issue, we talk about the emptiness syndrome, we talk about the mood swings. Yes, it makes a difference when your hormones leaves you, but the basically neurotransmitters get affected when the estrogen is low. But it is really true? I don't think so. So this don't think so, and how to cope it. I think today's esteemed speaker is going to enlighten us. And I'm a person who doesn't want to talk too much because we are here to listen our eminent speakers. Thank you again so much. And I request you all, please vote for me for the post of Secretary General IMS because I really want to do lots of work. My motto is menopause and eternal truth of the life. So it's not a disease, it's not a something which we should not have happily all the time. And join me on the 14th for my e-conference with IMS. It is third edition. We are doing it since 2021. The whole day it is there. Thank you. Please do join for some time. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I request our guest of honor, Dr. Swarna Kumari, ma'am, to address the delegates.
No, I think we will ask Dr. Ragini Agarwal to release the medal, our menopause associate.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I ask you to release it, please.
Yeah. So I think it's a very beautiful cover. It has the medal 6 Chennai Menopause Society changes not challenge. And I will really like to read it. Maybe we are getting a e-copy, Dr. Shanti.
Yeah, I always post it in our IMS.
Yeah, yeah, I am
Yeah,
beautiful. And this Rangoli, somebody has made it, or
yeah. See, this December, this Margary, we draw columns daily. We put columns daily. So really, this very colorful music season, column season. Okay? So one of that
Okay.
only has been put here.
beautiful, beautiful.
Life is
Thank you
color,
so much for the honor.
even after menopause. Even in menopause, rather. Yeah.
Hello, Dr. Meera. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. I kindly request our guest of honor, Dr. Swarna Kumari, ma'am, to address the delegates. Madam has been with Apollo since it is in the Department of OG in 1983, delivered the first baby in 1983 August. She conducted first international workshop in 1988 by Chinmaya Mission faculty from USA and delivered first gift baby at Apollo in 1989 July. In 1989, she became the member of FICOG. In 1990, she became fellow of American College of Surgeons by submitting my list of surgeries from Apollo, among which 2 cases are successful recanalizations on tubes. She is the vice president and president of Obstetric and Gynae Society of Southern India. Inducted many private hospitals into OXY earlier, which was dominated by government institutions. In 1975, she participated in laparoscopic workshop at John Hopkins Hospital at American Government Scholarship and has trained many junior doctors from DNB, which she has initiated along with her teacher, Dr. Indra Ramamurthy. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Meera. I thank all the Menopausal Society members for inviting me for this webinar, and especially Dr. Meera Raghavan. And there is nothing much to say. All of you have been seeing me in the city of Madras for so many years and have been active with the Apollo Hospital. And the thing is, the menopause age is a very important age for anybody's life. That's the place where you are encountering a lot of problems because of your low hormones, loss of little bit of memory, and many of these children may be going away from your house and causing emptiness syndrome. And these all things you have to cope up with this at this age. So it's very important for you to keep yourself intact for all these disturbances in life. So the best thing is only your attention not to take rest. If you take rest, you will get rested. That is my my principle. So I always keep myself, and I always keep fire in myself. I don't want to put off the fire in me. So that's why I'm still continue to be with Apollo. I'm very happy to see so many members here, especially my good friend Dr. Preetika Chari. Very, very nice to see her. So cheerful. Very, very nice to see, because we both belong to same city. So nice, very nice meeting. People have arranged it, and all the members, I really thank you. And at this age, what I advise is for the youngsters to keep them alive with your profession, not to take rest thinking that your years are over, your experience is over, you are retired or anything like that, which I have not done. That's why I'm still active now. And another thing is you must add life to the age, not the years to the life, years to the age. So that is what my principle. You must add life to your age. Age is only a number game. So you should not be carried away with that. So that is my message. And I'm very happy till now. And absolutely, I cope up with many problems, many troubles in family as well as in my profession. But still, I'm enjoying my life now. And profession, I enjoy it, and I really worship like a god till today. And I have been delivering 2 generations, 3 generations of my patients also. Even after 25, 30 years, they come to me for delivery, thinking this is your baby, doctor. So some things which will satisfy me very much. So that's all the thing what I can say. And I really thank all the members of the Menopause Society, and especially Meera Raghavan. I don't see her at all, Meera Raghavan here.
And she has joined.
Yeah. Hello, ma'am.
So hello, Meera, where are you? I don't see you at
Very
all.
much here.
That's not on the screen. Anyway, thank you so much for me calling me for this.
Pleasure, ma'am. It's a great honor. Thank you very
Thanks
much.
a lot. Thanks a lot.
Madam is actually very busy. Her children have come over, but she kindly agreed to be here. So thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. We will move on to our webinar. I request Dr. Gauri Meena madam, Dr. Kartika Prabhu ma'am, and Dr. Mohana Pramila madam to chair the session. Dr. Gauri Meena ma'am has over 10 years of professional experience in India and UK. She is currently working in Apollo Hospitals and Women's Choice Clinic. She is the best outgoing student and university top ranker in MBBS and MDOG. She is recipient of Dr. Chellammal Award in Obstetrics and Gynecology in MBBS. She is recipient of Dr. Venkoba Rao Award in Psychiatry in MBBS. She is recipient of Gold Medal in Medicine, Surgery and Pediatrics.
So soon.
Recipient of A.L. Mudaliar Traveling Fellowship for MD Obstetrics and Gynecology. She is the recipient of Dr. Meera Sengupta Gold Medal for MD Obs and Gynaec. She is recipient of A.L. Mudaliar Traveling Fellowship. She has attended over 50 OG conferences. She's a Dr. Kartika Prabhu ma'am. She is a professor in SRM Medical College and Hospital and Research Center, Katankaluttu. She is an undergraduate and postgraduate teacher. Her special interest is in high-risk pregnancy, gynec endoscopy, midlife health awards, and midlife health. Her awards are Dr. A.B. Umachigi Memorial Gold Medal, Dr. Asha Baxi Award, Annual Conference AICC RCOG 2016. She has made paper presentation in UVA Foxy South 2011 and DIPSI 2013. She is a gold medal research. She has got Dr. A.L. Mudaliar Traveling Fellowship Award, and she has more than 20 national and international publications. She is faculty in national and regional conferences. She is a credential IMS menopause practitioner. Dr. Mohana Pramila ma'am, she is a consultant OBG fertility physician, laparoscopic surgeon, medical director in Sri Narayana Medical Center, Ambattur. She has done her MBBS from Tanjavur Medical College, Tanjavur. Her special interest is high-risk obstetric, fertility-enhancing laparoscopic surgeries. She has conducted many cancer cervix screening camps. She is a faculty in national conferences and has presented papers in national conferences. She is an executive committee member of OXY and member of ISAR, IFS, ASPAN, and IAGE. Her hobbies are Indian classical dance and folk dance. I kindly request ma'am to chair the session. And our first topic is on Rising Above Menopause, Talk on Resilience by Dr. Pritika Chari, madam. Madam, I have done, madam is the senior consultant neurologist, a neurosurgeon and epileptologist in Kaveri Hospital, Chennai.
Over Rajalakshmi. Yeah. I request the chairpersons to take over and introduce Madam.
So today's topic is a very important topic. It is on the mental health in menopause. So we have many eminent speakers. Our first eminent speaker is Dr. Pritika Chari. She is going to talk about rising above menopause, talk on resilience. So she will help us to guide how to adapt to the tough situation which women will face during the menopausal transition and menopause. Over to you, ma'am.
Distinction of holding DM as well as MCH degree. So and more than that, she's an avid life coach. Welcome, Madam.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. It's truly an honor and privilege to be here. I have to acknowledge Dr. Ragini Agarwal, Dr. Swarnakumari, an old-time friend and colleague. We both joined Apollo in 83, and I was in Apollo till 2012, and she's still there. Dr. Shanti, Dr. Meera especially, for taking so much trouble to get everything right and organize everything. Our chairpersons, Gauri Meena, Kartika Prabhu, and Mohana Pramila. I don't personally know most of you, the chairpersons, but anyway, it's good to meet all of you here. I don't know how many of you know that the Chennai branch of the Indian Menopause Society was originally started by Dr. Jayashree Gajraj, Dr. Pritika Chari, and Dr. Usha Sriram. We were the first three to put this whole idea into motion, because at that time, we were the three people part of the Women's Health Center in Kottuppuram for Apollo. And then, of course, lots of other organizational things happened. And now I'm so happy to see you're all so active and so involved, and the message is spread all over the place. And I don't know if at that time there was a plan that even non-physicians could join the Indian Menopause Society as a patient's wing or a public wing kind of thing. I don't know if that's operational. In epilepsy, we have that. We have an Indian Epilepsy Society where we've got only the medical professions, and we have an Indian Epilepsy Association, which the laypersons, the families of people with epilepsy, people interested in doing something for epilepsy can join. So maybe you should consider having that little subdivision, because then you get involvement with the patients and you can do more awareness directly to them. And you'll be surprised how much they can contribute to getting things done. They also help us to run big conferences and things like that by being present and supporting us. Now, I have, since the COVID, in addition to my neurological and neurosurgical and epilepsy practice, I have an initiative called Creative Karma, which I started in 1994. I've been doing offline stress. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I should have put off my phone. I'm in a meeting. I'll just can put it in airplane mode, no? Just a minute. Give me a minute. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So in that, I used to do a lot of stress management workshops for corporates, for IIMs, for army personnel, etc. But during COVID, I decided to digitize the whole thing. I learned and joined a lot of courses, became a digitally more savvy, learned technology, etc., and started an initiative called Be Your Best with Dr. Pritika Chari, which is a brain health and resilience coaching initiative. The intention is for people who have undergone a life or a health challenge for them to be able to regain maximum quality of life. Now, all of you know that neurological illness very often leaves behind limitations, leaves behind disabilities. So I've been doing this without even realizing that I've been doing resilience coaching for the past 45 years in my own profession. And in 2016, I was diagnosed with a cancer rectum grade 3 and given 6 months, a 30%, 50% chance of making it in 6 months. So my resilience, the way I had been living my life throughout my life, and my being what I call as stress fit, helped me tide over that sudden blow which I received. And many of us can get sudden blows like that, and then we buckle under. And I decided that I will not be a survivor. I will thrive and I will inspire. And with that intention, I started Be Your Best with Dr. Pritika Chari under the Creative Karma Initiative and the Resilience Coaching, because I knew that I'll be able to help a lot of people. So that's just the background. Now let me share my screen and we'll get started on the topic of the day. Now, all of us, I'm starting from the last slide.
Yes, madam. While
Yeah,
you're
this is the last slide, from which I'm going backwards and then I come to the first slide. To me, menopause, when it happened to me, it meant freedom from the monthly menstrual cycle. Because all of you have been saying the problems, the this, that. That's how you've been approaching menopause. I want you to look at menopause the way I looked at menopause. Okay? I felt that when I got my menopause, I was much wiser. And it gave me a different kind of independence, because not being bound to your menstrual cycle every month for 3 to 5 days, to me, sorry, I don't know what's happening here, itself for me was a sort of independence. Also, by that time, I could make choices. I could have life satisfaction. I could pursue peace. I could pursue joy. And most importantly, I could be myself at last without the limitations of the menstrual cycle and the limitations of some of the things that we used to impose upon ourselves just because menopause has set in. Now, having said that, that was my approach to menopause. My menopause was pretty stormy. It wasn't simple. But each one of us looks at menopause in different ways. So you could be very calm, collected, and approach it with dignity. You could say, okay, I can tolerate it. I've got to go through this. You can get desperate. Or you can say, oh, what a miserable time this is. When is it going to end? You can look at it that way. Or you can feel the whole burden of menopause as a very major issue that's happening to you. Now, the reason why all this is happening is very often the physical symptoms. The physical symptoms are really troublesome because you stop feeling beautiful, you stop feeling like a woman, you are afraid that your femininity is going to end. So all these physical things, the breast enlargement, the skin changes, the hot flashes particularly, are extremely troublesome. And your joint pains and urinary symptoms, all of this really upsets you. And to top all this, we've got these psychological symptoms.
Recording in progress.
We've got these psychological symptoms which include anything under the sun. So it could be interruption in our sleep, anxiety, our memory deficits, difficulty in concentration, brain fog, name it, you got it. And what bothered me during my menopause was, for nearly 2 years, my periods had a mind of its own. It would come once in 2 months, last for 15 days, go away, come back again in 15 days, then again last for 10 days. This was crazy. And for me, it was really tough because at that time, I made this grand decision in 1986 to go back and do neurosurgery training. And that is, you know how tough neurosurgery training can be. So it was arduous, very tough hours. And what happened was, in the Institute of Neurology in Chennai, we didn't have a separate ladies' a bathroom in the building for women. I had to go to the main GH, to the women medical officer's room each time I needed to change. So you can imagine how difficult it was. And what happened was sometimes because I used to go through 2 or 3 changes in the morning itself, some days I would come late. And all my colleagues were men. And what happened? One of my male colleagues went and complained to the chief. This lady is taking advantage just because she's a senior person who has joined again as a PG. She's coming late. So I had to go and tell my chief that I was having this polymenorrhea, I was having menorrhagia, I was having erratic periods as part of a menopausal change. And I just had to go through that because of the lack of a proper toilet in the building and things like that. So you can imagine my plight. My menopause was stormy, but I didn't allow it to bother me. And if you look at it, 33% of us actually get away with mild symptoms. Only 1/3 of us get into some bothersome symptoms, and some of us end up with prolonged ongoing symptoms over a period of time. So let us look at the positive side and say, look, even if I'm having symptoms, maybe I'm the category which is with the mild symptoms. Or if I'm having a little bit more bothersome symptoms, anyway, it's going to go away. It's not ongoing. So bad things happen to good people also. So when a bad thing happens, I have a philosophy called taking in the good. So look for the good in the situation. That is your first lesson in resilience in life itself. And so they say, no taliki vandது tala pavada pochi. So whatever affects you, learn to look at the good in it. Learn to look at the transient nature of whatever is happening and understand that this too shall pass. Nothing is going to last forever. So if you look at that, there is the power to rise above hot flashes, mood swings, fatigue, etc. If you train your mind, first of all, I suggest you train your mind well before menopause and develop what I call as stress fitness, which saw me through my many ups and downs in my life. So if you have not done that, even when you're undergoing menopausal symptoms, you have the power to rise above. Because what you have to do is you have to develop the meno mind, where you learn to think clearly, learn to calm yourself, learn to have clarity and confidence. Then we have the meno relationships. When we are going through menopause, we are troublesome to not only ourselves, to many people around us. And other people also consider us as some kind of alien creature who is descended from somewhere, somebody they don't recognize anymore. So think of the me, think of the we, think of the thee when we behave during menopause are behavioral inputs. Body, you have to take care of your body. Many of us, we give up on general health precautions. For resilience, you need good physical health. You need to manage your emotions. You need to have a good mindset. All of this helps you to tide over anything. But the start of this whole thing is to take ownership. You have to tell yourself, I have to take responsibility. I have this vision on how I'm going to deal with my menopause. This is the mission this is the strategy I'm going to adopt. And you have to take 100% responsibility that you can rise above menopause. And when you do that, see, many of us are working, like happened with me. We are working through the menopause, and so are many of our patients. So if we want to stay in the job, we have to build resilience well ahead and even afterwards, so that we are able to cope with whatever is happening around us. As for doctors, we know that burnout rates, physician dissatisfaction is at an all-time high everywhere. All of us feel we need to have more time, more facilities, more income, more comfort, more sleep, everything. So we keep hearing the word work-life balance. And they say, how are you going to, what is this work-life balance? In my life, in my personal opinion, work-life balance is about eating from the plate, not trying to balance it. See, this plate is there in front of us. It is there. Our lives are as they are. We have to learn how to manage that life. and not try to balance it, because work-life balance is a myth. All you can do is work-life integration. And remember that everyone has a choice, and each one of us has our own style of integrating this. So you have to take your work and career, your well-being and health, your home and family, your social role, your community, and integrate this whole thing. No balance can happen because you cannot have balance. Something will suffer a little bit here and there, but you can integrate it and blend it. So integration means coordinating it, blending it, bringing elements into a unified whole. Balance doesn't work because that's a zero-sum game. So what you should do is look at your capacity. What are your areas in which you are able to easily do this integration? Then which are the areas where you have to stretch outside your comfort zone? Which are the areas which are over the edge? So you need to sit down and evaluate where the over the edge elements are, where whatever that incident throws you into a panic, it overwhelms you, it paralyzes you. Try to stay in the growth edge as much as possible and try to, just enjoy and do the easy things more easily and more frequently. So when you do the easy things more frequently and bring an element of the easy things into your life, when you integrate, you'll find that you feel as if you're having a break comparatively. So the growth edge in this orange zone, you have to, it's a bit hard. You have to work at it. But try as far as possible that when this is happening, to bring yourself back, maybe take a break and go into the easy job. So when something is overwhelming, you don't keep on pushing and pressurizing yourself to do that challenge. Stop, leave it. It doesn't matter. Nothing will happen. Go back and come back. What are our challenges? All of us have too much to do and too little time. All of us are having information overload. Very often, many of us have a demanding boss. Some of us want to start at the top rung. We don't want to climb the steps from below. So we aim too high. We challenge ourselves, or we put a very high goal, and then we get frustrated when we can't achieve it. We don't know how to balance our greed versus our need when it comes especially to money. Not only money, the time, the fun times, the engagement with people. We don't know yet how to balance greed and need. Remember that life is like riding a roller coaster. There are ups, there are downs, there are twists, there are turns. So try to enjoy the thrill of the ride. It is that which makes life interesting. But no, why is it we can't enjoy the thrill of the ride? Because all of us think we are Wonder Girl or Superwoman. We can handle everything. That is where we have to stop and tell ourselves, we are human. We too can fail. We are enough. We matter. We are capable, but we too matter. We have to look after ourselves as well. So schedule an appointment with yourself. And you schedule appointments with everybody. You give your clients, your boss, everybody, you give appointments. Give yourself an appointment with yourself 1 hour once a week. Do a self-audit. Sit down and see what really, really you want. Also look at the previous week and see what worked. And see if you can do more of it. See what did not work. And see how you can either drop it from your schedule or learn how to manage it better. So this will help you to integrate everything that's happening around you. And you can put the missing piece and complete the picture. But for this, you must also learn to let go of baggage. Many of us, whatever happened in the past, we are carrying it like that big boulder on. Whatever happened in the past were lessons that you were given through your difficult experiences. They are like tools which you carry in your tool bag. So just get rid of all your jealousies, your unforgiving, this person did that to me, that person did that to me, so I'm going to, suffer all my life. Just understand, equip yourself to thrive and travel light. Drop all the past that has troubled you. Discard all the emotional garbage of the past and just move on. Because a lifestyle is what you pay for. And a life is what pays you. So it's time you have a life. make sure that you have a life. You can be a brilliant obstetrician, you can be a brilliant neurologist, neurosurgeon, whatever. But end of the day, if you're not happy with the way you live, if you're not eager to get up in the morning and get into the day, if you don't have enthusiasm, if you don't have joy, life is not worthwhile. So if we look at the resilience associated factors, we have optimism, we have emotional stability, we need emotion regulation. Very important is to have self-compassion. The person who treats you badly most often is you. You beat yourself up. We all make mistakes. Nobody is perfect. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay. Like I've written a semi-autobiography of my life. I've written a book. In that I've written, after the cancer, there were a lot of changes in my schedules. So I've written there saying discipline is necessary, but flexible. Deadlines are important, but stretchable. So think about that. And that is resilience, because it's your ability to recover from, not only recover from, to adjust to any misfortune or change that's taking place in your life. So the definition of resilience is a capacity to persist. That's very important. You have to be able to persevere, to adapt, transform in the face of change in a way that retains your basic identity. So you have, only if you retain your basic identity, come what may, through this, can you carry on and sustain the human race. So resilience can affect your way you think about yourself, your body, your purpose, your mind, your connections. All of these get impacted when you display resilience or when you lack resilience. So why is resilience important? Because resilient people are able to commit to goals. They're able to focus on aspects that they can control. They don't blame themselves. They're empathetic. They think positively, and they see challenges as challenges, not as failures. So non-resilient people tend to have this kind of mindset. I'm a quitter. If I quit now, I'm a failure. I'm not reliable. I'm not successful as my peers. I'm not good enough. I can't stick to anything. What's the point? I should just give up. My imposter syndrome. I'm very good, but I know that I'm not really that good. That's an imposter syndrome. So we go through what is called as the adversity framework when a challenge hits us. The first thing that hits us is the jolt. Like when a cancer diagnosis was given, naturally it was a shock to me because I thought I was fine. And the tendency for us in the fight, flight, freeze, face framework is not to do anything. We just stop in our tracks. Then after a little while, we move to phase 2, where we either ask, why me? Or we feel hopeless, we feel helpless, and we may panic, we may get irrational, and we may make some knee-jerk reactions and bad decisions in the urgency to do something about it or get it. It's not happening to me. Only after that, we calm down a little bit, we assess, we evaluate. But even there, we may evaluate and then just wallow in self-pity, seek sympathy from everywhere and not take any action. And we keep on making little mistakes because A said to do this, B said to do this. We are so busy looking for our solutions outside, when the solution can only come from the inside. So then you move to phase 4, where you create an intention. You marshal your resources, you create an intention to respond, and you start purposefully recovering. And then you start rising. And we have to do the same thing with menopause. Now, when menopause happens, many of us, some of the symptoms, especially to the layperson, to our patients, is very shocking. Many of them feel, there's nothing I can do about this. I have to suffer this through. Even suffering can be made pleasurable if you have a good mindset. So we have to take them through these phases and encourage them so that they don't give up. So you have to teach them that throughout you're constantly evolving. When you move on, you're moving on to empower yourself. You can advocate for yourself. You can be exactly where you want to be because you have choice always. Do what you love. Success, remember, is not the same for all of us. So it's never too late to start. So if we encourage all this and remind them to remind themselves, I am good enough at all times, their resilience will be maintained. But what happens? Most of us are in our comfort zone, safe, comfortable, in control. And when we try to go into the learning zone or somebody is guiding us to get into the learning zone, this fear zone moves in because the brain by nature is meant to protect us. So we have the brain's negativity bias. It will tell us, no, 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 you can't do it. It's too hard. You're too old. You're too young. This is not the right time. All kinds of things will come into play. So you need to stop getting intimidated by the outside ideas, boost up your confidence, chuck all your excuses down the drain, and move into the learning zone and develop problem solving skills. Be receptive to the guidance of the doctor or your person who's helping you and acquire new skills. If you do that, you will move very rapidly and go into the growth zone. You'll find new. I do not believe in retirement. I only believe in redirection. Many of us, at a certain stage of our lives, when we feel it's time to so-called retire within quotes, I feel there is lots of scope because you're free. I told you there's the freedom from as emptiness syndrome. You have freedom. You had responsibilities before that. Now you have freedom. So you can define new goals. You can start, be your best with Dr. Pritika Chari at the age of 74. I'm 76. So you have to find your ikigai. You have to find out what you're good at. You have to find out what you love to do and see if somebody is going to pay you to do it. What are the strategies for building resilience? Develop a growth mindset. Practice self-care. Love yourself, cherish yourself, nurture yourself, look after yourself. Don't isolate yourself. Cultivate social connections. Set realistic goals. Yes, sometimes, like when I was going through that went on for about, I told you, for almost 1.5 years. But somehow I learned to work around it. You will create innovative solutions when you're stuck in a corner. Learn from the setback and be mindful, be conscious of what you're doing. So to adopt a growth mindset, there are certain ways in which we have to talk to ourselves. First is we should not say failure is the limit of my abilities. We have to say failure is an opportunity to grow. But look at here. This is what I call as flipping the switch. When you don't know something, instead of saying you don't know, say I'll find out. When you have a problem, look for the good in it. You see, is it an opportunity? When somebody criticizes you, don't look at it as criticism and get upset. Look at it as feedback and grow from it. If someone is jealous of you and is hurting you, think of it as you must have something to admire, isn't it? For them to be jealous of. So look at it as admiration. When you flip the switch in your perception like this, you'll find that life is fairly easy to manage. So instead of saying, I'm not good at this, say, what am I missing? Instead of saying, I give up, I'll use some of the strategies I learned. I can't make this any better. I can always improve, so I'll keep trying. Like that, remember the alphabet has more than 25 letters. So if plan A doesn't work, you have a plan B, plan C, plan D, whatever. Learn to take time out. If you treat your work better than you treat yourself, there's a good chance that you're not going to be around to finish that work. So don't get your priorities out of line. Learn to take time out. And your personal empowerment comes with taking a break. Now, taking a break, all of us feel guilty. I'll give you some tips which you can do. Not just once a year taking a holiday, once in 3 months going off for a weekend, not that kind of break. A break throughout the day. How you can take little mini breaks. So there is a technique, time management technique called the Pomodoro technique. And we have a rhythm in our body called the ultradian rhythm, where we are able to work efficiently with good energy for 90 minutes. And then we have a dip. And after half an hour again, we are able to build up the energy. That's called the ultradian rhythm. It's a natural bodily way of working. So in the Pomodoro method, which I use throughout in my life, because I've got lots of things on my plate. You intensively work for 25 minutes. Take a 5-minute break. Again, work for 25 minutes, 5-minute break. If you do this in 5 batches of 25 minutes, and then you take a half an hour break, you'll be surprised how fantastically productive you'll be. So even if you're seeing patients, between patients, maybe 25 minutes you spend with one patient, or you may see 2 patients in that time. Take a 5-minute break. Nothing. Get up from the chair, walk around the room, just look out the window, have a glass of water, come back, or maybe attend to a phone call, or maybe just make some notes. That itself will improve your productivity and give your brain the energy to keep going. Love yourself enough so that you nurture yourself. So how can you take care of yourself? If you can't, if you're finding it overwhelming, please expose your vulnerability, ask for help. Spend time alone from time to time, reflect. Make sure that you put yourself first when it comes to self-care. Nobody, no knight in shining armor is going to come and look after you. You have to look after yourself. So ask for what you need. Also, set boundaries. As doctors, our patients will make demands on us any old time. And as obstetrician gynecologists, I really don't envy your lives because you get pulled out at odd hours and it's very tough. But you can set boundaries. Like some things, you can set a system and some amount of control is possible. Say no when you have to, when you mean no, say no. Don't just be a people pleaser and say yes because you want to be popular with everybody else. When you make mistakes, forgive yourself. Take a step back and say, okay, supposing this was my friend going through this, how would I guide them? How would I advise them? Be kind to yourself. And remember, your 7 pillars of self-care are knowing how to take care of your health, your mental well-being. Make sure that you get some physical activity every day. Eat healthy. Kushali is going to, I'm sure, take you through healthy eating and how you can go through all this. Avoid risks. Actively avoid risky behavior. Good hygiene. And when there are products or services or drugs to be used, use them rationally and sensibly. Remember that we are all crucially meant to survive. We are created so that we preserve our life and we seek well-being. Don't hinder that by this thing of ambition and conditions and trying to, please somebody else or compete with somebody else. Or compete with yourself. Make a better version of yourself every single day. Because this is your life. There are a lot of balls which you're balancing. Now, out of this, everything except you matter. So what you're doing is you're giving importance to all of those. So understand that you are a single glass ball and all of those are harder rubber balls. If this glass ball breaks, the whole lot is gone. So loving yourself, taking care of yourself is very, very important. You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. I always say, don't be a candle. Don't think you have to melt and disappear in order to throw light to other people. Be an oil lamp. Burn bright in your own flame. Light other lamps. Illuminate the place around you. Be a beacon of hope for people. So you have to manage your own stress. You have to be compassionate to yourself. It's very hard being a doctor if we feel that we have to give all our time to everybody. And we are bound to meet patients that we don't like. We are bound to meet patients who don't like us. So let's forget about the patients and just ask if you're being kind and compassionate to yourself. So the way to do that, just worry about the present moment. Forget the past. Don't worry too much about the future. Have a sense of wonder. I have a tremendous sense of wonder and curiosity about everything around me. Have a sense of mystery, reverence. This beautiful world has been created for us. But how, I often ask this question in my stress management workshops. How many of you looked at the sky today? We don't even have time to look at the sky. The sky is everywhere. Have you watched the morning sky? Have you watched the night sky? Do you know how beautiful it can be? How relaxing it can be? Have a sense of purpose and place and space and time. Have your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual clarity, your IQ, EQ, SQ in balance. Take responsibility, create some discipline, because unless we have discipline, we cannot set a routine which will be able to help us to integrate our work and life. But what is important is to have a fulfilled life. And a fulfilled life needs serenity. It needs personal freedom. It needs tolerance. It needs patience. So building your spiritual quotient is very, very important. Many doctors around the world are unhappy, but unhappiness can be an opportunity to look at work as a possible area of change. So another indication if your work is interfering with your joy is it can lead to serious illness. I brought the cancer upon myself because 2016 was one of the worst years of my life. I was working too hard. I had personal challenges. Some people betrayed me. I was cheated of money. All kinds of stresses happened. So I'm quite convinced that the negativity is what brought the cancer on. And that's why I decided if I can bring it on, I can get rid of it. And God willing, God has been kind. But have patience because nothing happens overnight. So love, compassion, and service is my motto. I believe that my purpose in life is whichever, if I touch a life in any way, whether I pass through or I actually see them or meet them or whatever, that person or place should be better because I passed through. So love, compassion, and service, honesty, and authenticity. And say this prayer several times because there are many things in life we can't control. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not mine, be done. So pray with the words, pray through your actions, and make everything you do a living prayer. That is Karma Yoga. You know you have matured when you can stay calm amidst chaos. So celebrate little victories.
और
Forgive
बाहर का
anything.
रिस्क नहीं होता है.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just live the big stuff. Because your story is the greatest legacy that you will leave to your friends. It is the longest lasting legacy you will leave to your heirs. Not money, not property, not anything else. The way you lived, the example you set, the role model that you were is what is going to be your legacy. So the need to leave a legacy is a spiritual need. It's a sense of meaning, purpose, personal congruence, and contribution. So make your life your message. And remember that when you leave, you can take with you nothing that you have received, only what you have given. Because a full heart which was enriched by honest service, love, sacrifice, and courage. And be aware at all times of your blessings. All of us have got so much to be grateful for. So every day, many times a day, say, thank you, God. Thank you for this. Thank you for this. Thank you for this. Have faith, have trust, have inner security, wisdom, understanding, gratitude, humility. See, if you look at the big expanse of the universe, we have this tiny, insignificant thing comparatively. So if you look at it in a macro thing, we are nothing. But each one of us think we are, and all. Yes, you can be everything at a micro level. But be that everything, not with pride and ego, but with gratitude, humility, and willingness. So be grateful, count your blessings, be thankful at all times, and enjoy your life. Don't endure your life. Too many people are enduring their lives. Be connected with other people, with yourself, with the earth, nature. Be connected with life. Because life is meant to be lived, not watched from the sidelines. So, coming back to my last slide, which I put first, I believe that all this wisdom can come because when you're very young, sometimes you're so driven by ambition, you don't get all this wisdom. So you acquire this wisdom when you are going through menopause. I did. And also share it with your patients and tell them this is an opportunity. It is not a sentence. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for a very inspiring speech. I think audience and myself have benefited much with your talk, ma'am. all the strategies for building resilience and what tips are well taken, ma'am.
If do we have a Q&A or something, or because I'll be going away at 6 till 6:15 I can stretch it. That's it. So whatever, carry on.
It was a wonderful talk, ma'am. Apart from that scientific session and this brain health, the phrase you said, love yourself, the interaction between the work life and this all well taken. And it's the need of the hour. It is not, I thought this is not for the menopausal age. This is for the doctor's life, especially the
I purposely tailored it a little that way. I intentionally, because I was asking Meera, what will the audience be like? So I tailored it that way because I sincerely believe that doctors don't care for their health enough.
You
I
said,
keep wanting to do
say
stress
no.
management for doctors.
Say no, that I loved it.
Yeah. In fact, I would suggest all of you put your hand on your heart and repeat after me. I love myself. I am enough. I matter. I will take good care of myself.
Care of myself.
Because nobody else is going to care about you. That I can assure you. All of us know that. You only have to care for you. The sooner you realize it, and the sooner you make others realize that you're going to take care of you. Remember, the people who will block you will be those immediately around you, because if you change, they have to change. If they're used to using you like a doormat, they'll have to stop that. So you will find resistance, but manageable. You can overcome it.
Ma'am, if
So
I
whatever
can say,
happens next, go ahead, please.
if I can say in one sentence, you have walked the talk. You have been a trailblazer for many of us. So your words of wisdom, I would say, have transcended our mind, body, and through the heart, I think it's reached all our souls. It's going to positively impact not just our lives, but many generations to come. I'm so
And
blessed.
we have to
and
educate
thank
our
you, ma'am.
patients also. They're also just, everything is a difficulty kind of thing. That's how you'll find. So when they come in, we also say, yes, it's a difficult thing. Yes, we also dwell on the negative. So yes, it's tough, but it's okay. Do this, do that. Help me to get you off this medicine by changing your lifestyle. See, Kushali can give you a lot of tips on how you can tell your patients, hi, Kushali, it's a personal hi from me. So she can give you a lot of tips on how you can make your patients get off without potions, pills, or anything. There are a lot of lifestyle changes we can make. Okay, I'm done.
Shall I introduce Dr. Sujata Velmurugan? Her topic is mind and mood in menopausal women, an interactive session. She did her MBBS from MBBS and specialization in psychiatry from Kasturba Medical College. She worked as a private consultant. Excuse me. She worked as a. Am I audible?
Yeah.
She worked as a private consultant from 2001 to 7 with main focus on women and adolescents. During those years, she founded an NGO in Trichy to provide psychological help to those involved in major disasters. She was actively involved in an integrative social experiment of spirituality and mental health along with trustees of Gunaseelam Temple near Trichy. Following her move to United States, she was actively involved in California county suicide program along with the research for depression and PTSD in Veterans Hospital, Palo Alto, California. moved to Chennai in 2016 and is a private practice since then. She belongs to my hometown, Trichy. Welcome, Dr. Sujata Velmurugan. It's a pleasure hearing to your talk. Can you unmute? Dr. Sujata, you have to unmute.
Thank you, Dr. Mohna. And thank you to the Chennai Menopause Society and Dr. Pritika and Dr. Meera for this wonderful opportunity. It's a pleasure to address the gathering. I don't know what else to add because Dr. Pritika has said it all. And so from here as a mental health professional, we always address menopause as a stage of ovarian competency to ovarian failure. And we call it as it's not a phase that just comes and goes. In fact, I would call it as a stage of metamorphosis, a natural shedding of the old and to make way for new beginning. That's how I put it across to my patients or clients. And this is a phase which is riddled with happiness, confusion, mood changes, and also some view it, as Dr. Pritika said, a sense of freedom. And the health psychology associated with menopause is quite interesting, because there is this post-menopausal zest. As Dr. Pritika said, I think she was in that phase where many view it in a very positive way. There is a substantial change in terms of a sense of freedom. There is social freedom, and there is also sexual freedom because natural avoidance of pregnancy. And there is also immense sense of well-being because they are away from a lot of demands that life puts forth in front of them. But there are others who view this stage in a very negative way. They consider it as a kind of a milestone which is put around their neck rather than view it as a milestone to their life. And that is mainly because I would never put the entire blame on the hormones, but as a mental health professional, I would always attribute that to the various life events that occur during this menopausal stage. Now, for years and for decades, many people have, in fact, painted a very grim picture of the menopausal women. In fact, even Sigmund Freud, I blame him for that as well. He has cast a very dim light on the menopausal women. In fact, he had said that they are such an unpleasant being, very obstinate, very cranky, very petty, and very quarrelsome, and very sadistic. And he also went on to say, in fact, he compared them on par with the transition from Jekyll to Mrs. Hyde. This is how he portrayed the menopausal women. But on the contrary, I would say that whatever the mood changes are, whatever the symptoms are, that is low energy, fatigue, mood changes, such mood swings, and the concentration, everything goes out of focus, anger, irritability. It's not just the hormones. I attribute it to a lot of other factors. One's attitude towards menopause and aging. And I think it's also our societal perception where we feel that the minute we hit menopause, that's it. That's the end of everything. And also certain stressful life events, the change in the social support system, the social support connection, the family support, and also one important symptom, which is the vasomotor symptom, especially the hot flushes. That is also one major attributing factor to the mood, the irritability, and the mood changes. because that leads to a lot of fatigue, disruption in the daily activities, and also sleep disturbance. And there is this theory called the dominoes theory, whereas the hot flush leads to decrease in the sleep disturbance, and in turn it leads to a lot of mood changes. But the menopausal hormones as such, a lot of studies have said, is not the only determinant, or does not increase the risk of the moods, that is the depression. In fact, it is more of the psychosocial factors and more variation, leading to more variation in the mood. And many of us concentrate only on the menopausal period. In fact, I would say that a lot of stress should be made on the perimenopausal stage, because that's the window of vulnerability, and that's when the depression or any major depressive disorder, they are at more risk, the perimenopausal, whether there is any past history of depression. In fact, I would say the anyone with a history of depression in the past, the risk of relapse is 3 to 5 times higher in the perimenopausal state. And so a good mental health is very essential for overall well-being. And in fact, the gender is a major determinant of mental health. And the patterns of psychological distress is very different in women compared to other gender. And that's why I say that in order to take care of ourselves, we need to take care of ourselves in order to feel the triumphs in our life. And how do we go about boosting our mood and busting stress, which Dr. Pritika has gone in detail. And so I'm going to not talk about that at all. And so I think my talk will be cut short, and probably we can have an interactive session. One will be very, very important is having a conversation with our clients and patients, educating them and normalizing it. I feel that we need to normalize whatever symptoms they are going through, that it's absolutely okay to go through these mood changes. It's okay to get angry. It's okay to be irritable. And also destigmatize whatever it is, whether visiting a gynecologist for the symptoms, perimenopausal or menopausal symptoms, or if they are referred to a mental health professional, that it's absolutely okay, because as women, we always put other needs first and not ours. So we need to first educate them. The next is therapeutic intervention. Therapeutic intervention, there are various kinds. Again, it's according to the symptoms of the client, what they come with. One is antidepressant, anti-anxiety. Yes, there are several out there. Based on the symptom profile, we go ahead and do that, but if required and if needed. But very important here is the cognitive behavior therapy, or various other behavior therapeutic models, where we bring about the association of the environment, the thought process, the way we think, and how it affects and brings about changes with our mood as well as the physical changes. And we help them to gain control over those symptoms. That is one therapeutic intervention. Now, if at all they come with recurrent mood changes, then we need to really look in detail about the past treatment history and see what worked, and then go based on that. And at the same time, look into the side effect profile of whatever medication we are prescribing, because we need to be very aware of the weight gain and the sexual side effects the medication causes. And the third most important one is sleep. Because once sleep is affected, then the entire quality to their life goes off. And that's how they view it. So important is sleep hygiene. And obviously, one major factor for that is apart from the mood and the stress, the hot flushes. And so they come with multiple awakenings during the night, or initial insomnia or terminal insomnia. So very important thing is sleep hygiene. The various steps to that, what we talk to them about sleep hygiene. And the next is bringing about, very important is lifestyle modification. In fact, menopause itself gives a person an opportunity to re-evaluate their health habits if they have never done it before. And one is exercise in any form. What works for one might not work for the other based on one's interest. And then very, very healthy diet. And also important over here is that many are addicted to caffeine. So restricting caffeine, and I would call myself a very liberal psychiatrist by saying that I won't tell them stop smoking or stop taking alcohol, but if required, moderate level of alcohol. And you need to say a no and when to stop. That's what I tell them. And along with that, I would also say, as Dr. Pritika Chari had mentioned, learning new skills at this stage in life. It's never too late. Whether it is learning a language or taking up art in any form. And I can't stress the importance of art in any form in one's life. Whoever comes, whether they are retired age or whoever it is, in any form. And I really prescribe what the art forms are, the rangoli, what we call kolam. It is such a stimulating one to our mind, as well as it improves the cognition. Various studies are done on the kolams and the rangoli, and it improves even our memory. So during the menopause stage, definitely our memory, our verbal learning, problem-solving skills, and abstract thinking all comes down. And so with lifestyle modifications and with whatever points which Dr. Pritika had said, definitely the cognitions part can be improved. And the next one is, I'm not going to talk much about the hormone replacement therapy, but 2 points I would like to really stress is that, yes, one is we need to discuss about the cost. And the other one is the studies have shown that hormone replacement therapy definitely has the same antidepressant effect as the classical antidepressant if given in perimenopause. But studies have shown that when it is given during the menopausal phase, there's not much effect of it as an antidepressant. And so this shows that the window of vulnerability, that is the perimenopausal phase, is also a window of opportunity for the hormone therapy to have its effect as an antidepressant. And to many of us, I would really like to stress is that humor plays a very, very major role in one's life. And come menopause, I think everyone loses their humor. And also, let's all have a tribe of our own around us. This is something which I feel in our day-to-day practice when I ask them, so do you have friends? Do you talk to them? And they come back and say, in the age enna doctor friends எல்லாம் வீட்ல உட்கார்ந்தா போதும். No. As Dr. Pritika said, and as Dr. Swarna Kumari mentioned, I don't think age is at all a factor. It's never too late to have a tribe around us. Just talk. Talk itself is major therapy. One doesn't have to come to a mental health professional for that. So just talking about how one feels itself is a very therapeutic process. And so I feel as clinicians, generally all clinicians, I feel the health aspect during the perimenopausal and menopausal phase is kind of under-recognized. And it's during this perimenopausal phase, we should not only attribute it to the hormonal factor. Again and again, I'm stressing this because let me just come to a case vignette, but also give a lot of importance to the psychosocial factors that is going on in one's thing. I recently had a client who said that she was referred by her PCP, her primary care physician, and she came back and said, Doctor, one thing I would like to tell you before we start is, please do not tell me that hormones are the main reasons for my mood and what I am going through. If you can agree to that, then I will take you as my psychiatrist. She was very clear, and I totally agree with her. I totally agree with her. And when we went deep into the entire history, what she went through was really a lot, because on one side she had a issue with her husband who was infidelity, and then on the other side she had children, one who was had behavioral issues, other one who has had addiction issues. And then on exploring her personality, which we should always do, she was a highly sensitive person and a very cluster C personality, a very dependent type of personality. And when things were not going her way, and when she was hearing from her primary care physician and everyone others who she was consulting that her hormones are a major factor, she is in a menopausal phase, all along she was able to tackle it, and now she's not able to tackle it. She could not take it. And that's exactly why she came up to me in a very aggressive manner, and she was very clear about it. I don't want to hear this word hormone. And so the way each one manifests and each one take it is totally different. And how many of us, and the forgotten person, we always talk about during the menopausal period, we only talk about the women, right? And the forgotten souls are the spouse, the husbands. And many people, or when I talk to them individually, the spouse, they come back and say, God, doctor, it's truly like how Sigmund Freud said, Jekyll and Hyde, we see them. Or people in the rural community, they come back and use the term, my wife really turns into a Bhadrakali during that phase, right? With various terms too. So how do we empower the husbands to cope up with these changes in their life as well as the family and the women? The first and foremost is communication is the key factor which we have to tell them. And second is that not to generalize, right? Because the menopausal symptom varies from person to person. And the third is not to attribute every emotion of it to the menopause. Because there are some general comments saying, oh, you are in your menopausal phase, that's why you are like this, which is not taken well by the client or the patient who's going through this phase. And the third is be patient and also let them know to take off some of the tasks from their workload, and to also not be very judgmental about them. And the next thing is that I know I keep saying spend some time together, but I've also felt that it is a good news, but at the same time, it's a bad news also because of the mood changes. So I always tell them, why don't you? This is a stage wherein you should fine tune your relationship skills, both the person who's going through it, as well as the husband and the children. And I also tell the husband to not just be patient, but also, bring about humor into your life, or bring about humor into the way you are. And when they are sitting there, and that's how I address it, when someone says, God, I'm so terrified of this hot flushes and it's just bothering me and life is a mess because of hot flush. And I just throw this word by saying, that means you are just too hot to handle. And I also tell the husband that, your wife is like a finely aged wine. She's just getting better with age. And that kind of makes them feel better. So I think we also, as a clinician, we need to kind of make them feel at ease. And another main thing is that we need to liaise with each other, the gynecologists, obstetricians, mental health professionals, and the dietitians plays a very major role. And I think we all need to liaise with each other in order to improve the quality of life for the perimenopausal, menopausal, and the postmenopausal women. And all I would tell to the people who are sitting in front of me, any client, is that all I see is that you're not emotionally well, but I see that you are resilient. You are allowed to feel messed up inside out. It does not mean you're defective. It just shows you are human. So let's just normalize it and help them to be aware of the symptoms, the mood changes, the ability to recognize, set boundaries, and help them to be all that they can be. In fact, we can prune ourselves by learning a lot of tactics, just like the way we prune a tree and come up with a beautifully artistic bonsai tree. And thank you very much for this opportunity. And probably we can have an interactive session.
That was really nice, Sujata.
Thank you, Doctor.
And I like this aged old wine. I also tell them that, renew your romantic relationships, have date nights, and join groups where there are young people, not just senior citizen groups, social groups. Those are all little stupid mistakes we make. We think we should only be with the older generation. And the other thing which you said is very important, that you're not defective. Nothing's wrong with you. You don't need fixing. It's just right now that, like a machine, something is not working very well. It will work okay in course of time.
Oil it.
Yeah, it sort of just needs little servicing. Because many people really think they're defective.
Sorry. Do we have a support group here for perimenopausal and menopausal? Any support group? Probably the Chennai Menopause Society can start a support group.
You join as a member, like I'm a member, and initiate a support group here. I'm sure they'll all support you in doing that.
No, definitely.
No, I'm
That's the
serious
need
about
of the
it.
hour. Correct.
I'm
Absolutely,
serious
ma'am.
about what I'm saying. See, why should I be a member here? I'm a life member of the Indian Menopause Society.
Yeah, I think that will be really a wonderful start because more than us as clinicians saying, when it's coming from a person who's going through that, the skills which they learn from each other from a support group, it really helps one another, especially with all the life events that we are going through. I think even from a holistic approach, it can be tackled even in the support group.
You can have an award, Menopause Achiever of the Year. Which is the patient who, the person who really takes it up and does it wonderfully. Sorry, Meera? Sorry.
I've sent Dr. Sujata the membership form.
Oh, okay.
Good. Okay, good.
Really enjoyed your talk, Dr. Sujata, and I have a doubt whether there is an imbalance between the neurotransmitters during that perimenopausal age group. Why women are aggressive, though we are not supposed to say it's a hormone change, because there are reasons for them to get angry at that time because of over responsibility. But still, there is a mental instability, and they are fragile at that perimenopausal and menopausal age group. Is there a hormone? I mean, is there a neurotransmitters? There is an imbalance between the neurotransmitters. Why they are so much depressed?
Can I answer that question?
Yes, Dr. Kritika.
Yeah, because see, estrogen, actually, there are estrogen receptors in the brain. You see, when we discovered endorphin receptors, that's how it was a backward thing. Why should the brain have a receptor if it's not meant to be there? So with that, they found that there is a substance called endorphins produced, etc. In fact, estrogen in some neurology discussions is considered to be a neurotransmitter because it's necessary for neuronal health and for dendritic nurturing of dendrites, the development of dendrites. And you know that the dendrites are responsible for forming synaptic connections. So when the dendrites are not actively reconnecting and forming new connections, there is an apparent loss in the function. And the reason why the psychological functions occur and the memory and all that is, it is not directly the hormonal impact. Estrogen is necessary for the brain health, but it's partly due to the ongoing events which follow the lack of estrogen, which are purely neurological. They are in the brain. And that will not be corrected by hormone replacement therapy. And that is why they said hormones by themselves are not causing that. And like she said, the previous life events you've had, see, all of us are mentally programmed by the age of 7. So all that is buried in our subconscious. We're carrying all that. So the way I take a challenge will be different from the way you face a challenge, the same challenge. So that's where I promote this concept of stress fitness, which I coach 20 to 40-year-olds on that. See, if you're tough and stress fit now, anything that life throws at you, you'll be able to handle without collapsing. It will happen. You'll have to deal with it. Life happens to everybody. But the way you handle it will be different because you'll have the growth mindset. And you will be able to move out of a fixed mindset. And this is the only way to deal with this. See, in menopause, that's what is happening. And the media, unfortunately, and lots of other kinds of things have made it look like it's some kind of visitation from the devil. Unfortunately. And the men's groups perpetuate that image. So, as she said, communication, education, this is the way forward. And we have to tell, like she said, these are all words which you have to learn to use. They're not defective. They don't need fixing. They're passing through a phase. Men also pass through the phase, andropause. Only thing, it is more dramatic in women. Don't forget, in general, you can put it as a joke also. Women are more dramatic in the sense we do more fantastic things than the men do. We give birth to children, which is the most dramatic event in a woman's life. So you can tell the husbands, look here. And that itself is a very challenging thing. Pregnancy is not a joke. Did you reject your wife when she was pregnant? She would have been a little cranky. She would have been a little moody. She would have been vomiting. You didn't reject her then emotionally. So here also there is a little bit of change happening in the body. It's a physiological phenomenon. And it will settle down. So you have to, as she said, normalize the whole thing. That's a good word.
On the contrary, if everything is attributed to hormones and menopause, there can be a lot of complacency about true affective disorders like missing a cardiovascular event or another stroke and things like that. True depression, true OCDs, true anxiety disorders, panic attacks can also be missed. And that complacency should not set in, because if the family keeps telling, oh my God, she's menopausal for everything, that kind of complacency.
In dementia, they miss no. They say, oh, he's old, so he's forgetting. They miss dementia.
Yes.
So you have to understand that women go beyond the bikini view. Everything is not just the breast and the genitals. There's the rest of the woman is there. She is as much as the rest of the body as anybody else. So get out of the bikini view. Look at women as a whole. Because their brains can have a problem, their hearts can have a problem, and they're also aging. So what can apply to some other, to a man at that age, Women, fortunately, have a better way of coping with many of these lifestyle chronic diseases than men do. They are tougher physiologically. They're born tougher. In many places, the heart attacks are missed in women, no, in
Very
many
much.
casualties.
Very
They
much.
just say, oh, she's making a fuss, she's menopausal, she's got chest pain, this, that, she's drama. So women's health is an important issue. In fact, I feel that during perimenopause, more focus should be there from every specialty on the women's thing. Pochi, Zoom poch. I feel that there should be more focus on all the other parts of her health.
Actually, the green climactic scale does this. It's a very good scale. It talks of everything but the uterus and ovaries. It's
Exactly.
a very
Mhm.
holistic scale of evaluation which we give in the clinic. So the patient also is able to recognize this fact. It's an
Yeah,
awareness scale.
I think we'll go on to Kushali so that I can hear a little bit of her before I rush
Thank
off to
you,
the
doctor.
next one. Yeah. We know each other for a long time.
We have a short quiz just to make sure everybody is awake and not
Want to do that later? I think
Ma'am, very
already
quickly.
everybody is pretty,
5
pretty awake.
questions and that's it. And then they will get the answers. Quickly, Sahiti.
Okay, ma'am. First question.
Not working.
Panelists and hosts can't answer.
Oh, cannot vote.
This
Okay.
is only for delegates, ma'am.
Delegates.
Okay.
They suspect we might have leaked the question papers.
Okay.
Last 5 seconds. Timer. Second question. Last 5 seconds. Time up. Third question. Last 5 seconds. Time up. Fourth question. Last 5 seconds. Time up. Fifth question and last question. Last 5 seconds. Time up. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I request our President CMS, Dr. Shanti Gunasingh, ma'am, to give.
The podium to our chairpersons who can introduce Dr. Kushali.
So I take privilege in introducing Dr. Kushali Kambir. Welcome, ma'am. She's been a practicing homeopathic physician since 27 years, and she runs Dr. Kushali Homeopathic Clinic. Her main focus is on women's health, immunity through childhood, midlife, especially through menopause. And she's been having a continuous professional development with prestigious institutions worldwide. And she's currently pursuing functional medicine and nutrition, and has penned articles for various prestigious journals. And has recently won the second prize for awareness videos in Tamil for mental health at menopause. So we are very eager to listen to what you have to share, madam. The stage is yours.
She is one of our active members. And Madam, you asked about other people. And we also have nurses as well as physician assistants and also physiotherapists with us as members, CMS members. This is one institution one association which invites participation from everybody to make the menopausal woman healthy and happy.
Thank you for the introduction, and what a lovely opportunity. I'm honored to be here. And Dr. Meera, are you going to share the screen, or do you want me to share it?
You can share.
I can share?
Yeah, it's easier for them.
One moment. How does this thing go up?
First, open the PPT, minimize it, then go to the share screen and you'll get the picture.
Open the PPT and minimize.
Open the PPT, minimize it.
Minimized it. Now I'm just not able to reach the slide share. 1 minute. Yes.
No, close this, shut this window.
Ma'am, please stop sharing, ma'am, and then restart the sharing.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Go to your PPT.
Okay.
Open it, minimize it. Then come to share screen. And it will show up there, and you go to click on it and put share.
Open the PPT, minimize it.
Now share screen.
Okay, now go to share screen. Okay.
Yeah, your PPT will show up there.
All right.
So,
Yes.
perfect.
Yes. All right. So after the vibrant talk by both my previous speakers, now I'm thinking striking the balance or striking the integration, but there's art also integrated out here. So I'm very happy with my slide, my opening slide. So I'm going to add this little twist: holistic approach to mental health at menopause transition, a research-based overview. Now, the statistics that WHO has put out has been quite startling with the number game itself. But what's more important is there is females are more susceptible, but naturally, females go through this phase of multiple hormones in their lifetimes, and it is something that we need to wake up to and address. There's a lot of research that has documented this fact, multiple papers, and globally this is seen. But what's a startling fact is that genuinely between different types of mental health issues, the statistics is like a 50% and above. And fortunately, India is at least a shade better. Now we understand that mental health is not just mental health, it has an impact on physical well-being, on non-communicable diseases, as well as the socio-economic burden. Here was a study which was presented in the Journal of Evidence-Based Integrative Medicine, which showed the population's choice for complementary and alternative medicine for menopause. And what it showed was that 51% do seek complementary alternative medicine, and greater than 60% feel the benefit. And there are three main modalities. There are multiple modalities, but if you club them, it's overall three main modalities. One is the whole system alternative approach, which is the Ayush systems, which is accepted globally, the traditional Chinese medicine, the acupuncture. It's actually quite a coincidence that I'm leaving tomorrow for Dubai to speak on homeopathy for mental health at menopause transition at the International Ayush Conference held in Dubai. Then comes the natural products, herbs, supplements, and vitamins, mind-body practices like CBT, meditation, aromatherapy, hypnosis, biofeedback mechanism. So quick run through in the Ayush systems. It's the acronym for Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, Homeopathy. What's interesting is that the Ayush systems from their inception have viewed mental, spiritual, and physical health all as a single unit. Homeopathy inquires on mental health for absolutely all diseases, all illnesses with respect to giving cure and care, where individuality is a key factor in homeopathy, both individuality in the nuances of symptoms, both physical and mental. So the importance here is that it offers a solution for the emotional well-being immediately versus the individual having to take complete responsibility on their own. Now, what we notice is sometimes when a person is agitated, irritable, or just restless during this phase, it's difficult for them to take up certain practices immediately. So in such a situation, for example, Mrs. S, who came to me for insomnia, and she had just about started her perimenopausal journey, was very agitated and loquacious, irritable. She was treated with the medicines Lachesis and Sabina, and in 4 months, her sleep completely resolved. Now, we do not have any medication to induce sleep. We can only correct the imbalance taking place. There have been lots of studies done. Two quick studies that I'd like to highlight is that of Central Council of Research in Homeopathy, which did a study to ascertain the usefulness of homeopathic treatment in distress during climacteric years. And what it found was medicines like Sapia, Lachesis, Calcarea, Carb, Lycopodium, and Sulfur were very useful in managing the distressive symptoms, especially that of night sweats, hot flushes, anxiety, depression, and insomnia. There's another study that was published in the European Journal of Integrative Medicine, which showed that homeopathic medicines were comparable to fluoxetine, and general physicians who used homeopathic medicines in their practice found a lower consumption of psychotropic drugs when used in combination. Some further studies on the neuroendocrine effects of homeopathic medicines. This is a fairly recent study in January 2023. We are familiar that the gonadal hormones do modulate the neurotransmitter systems. So a study done on rodent models found that Gelsemium, Ignatia, and Chamomilla had anxiolytic effects. Also, Lachesis and Sapia, these are very, very commonly used medicines at menopause transition for neuropsychiatric and vasomotor symptoms. Sapia is nothing but the cuttlefish, and the cuttlefish uses an ink to startle its enemy. Now, the medicine is made from that ink, and that ink contains dopamine, apart from certain other components. So over to a few mind-body practices. We are familiar with yoga, CBT, mindful meditation. I'd like to highlight the role of lavender aromatherapy. There was a study done in Midnight Women for insomnia, and it was published again in the evidence-based complementary journal Complementary Medicine Journal, which found lavender oil having a 50% improvement in sleep as compared to placebo. There have been other studies to understand the breath work, the role of breath work, and this is another study done which showed the brief structured respiration practices, which enhance mood and reduce physiological arousal. So this highlights the role of yoga, breathing exercises, but I'd like to speak about another technique called the box breathing. Box breathing is a short technique, 4 seconds of inhalation, 4 seconds of holding, 4 seconds of exhalation, 4 seconds of holding, 4 to 6 repetitions. Like I said, sometimes the woman is really in an agitated state. For her to go into deep practices is difficult. And very often we see people who have consistently actually practiced meditation or have done yoga, who have done breath work, are still suddenly fall off the bandwagon. For them, as an initiation, this box breathing is a great initial phase because it is short duration and can be done anywhere. Then comes a large ocean of herbs, supplements, and vitamins. It is such a large ocean. I'm going to highlight few which I found interesting and which I use in terms for mental health. Ashwagandha, which is a great adaptogen, especially when it comes to energy. Soy lecithin. This was another study which was done on soy lecithin for menopausal women. It was a double-blind study which found 1,200 milligrams per day useful for fatigue. Phosphatidylserine, again, is another supplement reducing fatigue and as a memory booster. It is also a constituent of lecithin. Milk thistle or silymarin is a very popular liver detox supplement, essentially working on the role of metabolizing estrogen effectively. Maca root. Maca root has been used quite extensively for regularizing menstrual cycles, but this was a study done for its antidepressant role. And what was found was maca root was useful for depression and for loss of libido. We are familiar with black cohosh, donkai, evening primrose, hops, Korean ginseng, linseed, red clover, St. John's wort, and wild yam. They all come with certain pros and cons. Of importance are supplements like omega-3 fatty acids, probiotics, B complex, folate, resveratrol. I'm sorry, I've forgotten to add NMN over here. Resveratrol and NMN are two popular supplements in terms of anti-aging. Probiotics is an important factor because it does work on the gut-brain axis and helps in the maintaining that fine balance of the gut estrogen levels. Actually, more than probiotics, symbiotics are better. Symbiotics are the pre and the pro. For the simple reason is the prebiotics is designed for the probiotic that is present in it. Nutrition, movement, and sunshine. Now, again, lots of studies have been done on this field of nutrition. A Women's Health Initiative study showed that the high glycemic index diet is very susceptible towards depression. And a cross-sectional study amongst Chinese postmenopausal women showed high processed foods. Now, when it comes to a patient talking about high glycemic index, the simplest way for me to explain this to them is anything that is overripe, overcooked, or kept for the next day. These increase the glycemic indexes of food, apart from what is already a high glycemic index food, which is pretty obvious in terms of the sugary foods. But these are certain aspects which they are not aware of, that the next day's food, the next day's biryani is always better, but unfortunately high glycemic index. Movement versus exercise. We are familiar now with exercise, the 150 hours of cardiovascular, the strength training that is required. But there's an other integration which is important here, which is movement. Now, the IMS slogan of fit at 40, strong at 60, independent at 80. What is strong at 60? When we say strong at 60 is the capacity to be able to pull that 23 kgs suitcase off the conveyor belt in an airport, or to be able to put that 7 kgs cabin luggage up into the cabin without assistance, or to be able to flip that 15 liter or 20 liter bubble top into the water can into the bubble top. Now, this can happen when we look at movement, strength, and exercise as one unit. Movement through the day is more or equally important than just 1 hour exercise. Sunshine. Any amount spoken about sunshine is only less. I've just spoken about the vitamin D, circadian rhythm, mood enhancing qualities. But something that I do tell my patients is combining this movement and sunshine. Is something that I tell them that aim for 30 minutes of movement in sunshine. Now that could be 5 minutes into 6 times, 15 minutes into 2, 30 minutes into 1. It could be walking and talking to your friend in sunshine. It could be going and drying your clothes on the dryer. It could be doing breathing in sunshine. It could be watering the plants. It could be anything. But over and above exercise, aim for 30 minutes movement in sunshine. Self-help. This is an extremely important aspect, and we need to guide the patients, guide our clients on this aspect and encourage self-help. The cornerstones of these is the discipline of lifestyle, time-based activities like sleep, meals, and exercise. Each of these need to be, to a great extent, having some sort of a discipline to it. Sleep hygiene, avoiding blue light. Blue light does interfere with the melatonin secretion. Reducing EMF exposure, that is electromagnetic field exposure. This comes in from charging the gadgets next to the bed. Restrictive sleep technique. This is a technique which focuses on quality of sleep versus quantity. Mindfulness in day-to-day activities. How many times have we entered the room, forgotten what we have come in there for, and then, you move out? Now, mindfulness, deciding what you're going in there for, executing the task, and coming back down. So this is mindfulness. And today it is the digital era. We have to embrace the digital world. And there are beautiful apps. Some of my favorite ones are Calm, which is good for insomnia because it has sleep stories, it has music, and it has visualization techniques. Healthify Me, a lovely app to understand the balanced nutrition just by feeding it in. And this app has so much of our Indian food in it that it's very easy to feed in the data. And it calculates it and gives you per meal as well as end of the day and end of the week, how much of macro and micronutrients we have consumed. Yoga Nidra is a great relaxation technique. Menstrual tracking apps, dime a dozen are available. I think this is a very important app for perimenopausal and menopausal women because they are not able to recollect when they have actually had their last menstrual cycles. And it's important in the menopausal women because of identifying postmenopausal bleeding, because sometimes they're not aware actually of when it has happened. And another app is Effecto. This is an area that has caught my interest and I'm working on this right now. Effecto is an app for ADHD, and I'm curious to understand and study this a little bit more, whether ADHD really is something that comes in at menopause transition, or is it only adult ADHD, or really is it something connected to this field? But this app has great features like it tracks how much you've procrastinated, when your moods have been off. It helps you understand times of the day when you're not in your best productivity. So it's a great app to utilize. And like already stressed earlier, sleep is the alpha and omega. There was a beautiful study by Stanford, which was a study comparing cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, sleep restriction therapy, and sleep hygiene education. This was published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine, where 150 peri-postmenopausal women were studied. 3 treatment conditions were given, that is hygiene education, the sleep hygiene education, which was the control, sleep restrictive therapy, and then cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. Now, CBTI and SRT were efficacious in improving the daytime function, performance, and quality of life. CBTI had the added benefit of emotional well-being. The sleep restrictive therapy, like I said, is focuses on quality of sleep. So basically, this technique is such that instead of tossing and turning in bed, the person is directed to go to sleep when they're really feeling sleepy, and then maximize the quality of number of hours that they're getting the best quality sleep, and capitalize on that best quality. Thereafter, the time is increased slowly and steadily, provided the quality has come in. To sum up, let's cast our net wide and get the holistic approach. There are lots of modalities, integration of healthcare with multiple modalities like holistic wellness modalities, mind-body practices, nutrition and supplement intervention, and most important, education of menopause, of sleep, mental health. Customization is very important based on the requirement of the patient, affordability, lifestyle of the patient, and self-help. It is time to empower her with the right tools. Some of the study work I've done, and I must say a huge thank you to Dr. Shanti and her vibrant team for giving me this opportunity of engagement and this honor. I'm always grateful to Dr. Jayashree Gajraj and Dr. Vijayalakshmi Shishadi for introducing me to this fantastic family of CMS. It's such a warm, warm family. My assistants, Dr. Preeti and Dr. Abhirami, for helping me compile my data. My patients for trusting homeopathy and me, and my family for their consistent support. And true, we are not getting old. Our children are. Thank you.
So thank you so much for the wonderful talk, madam. You have put it all together and then added more and has given a lot of options so that we can customize and help. And I agree with you that we are not getting old. Our children are. So that was the icing on the cake. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was really a wonderful enlightenment regarding the lifestyle modifications, what we have to do. I have a doubt. Recently in a PubMed, I happened to see a randomized control study. In that, they have given the old rice, that is the rice which is cooked and stored for 24 hours, as a low glycemic index than a freshly cooked rice. What is your opinion regarding that?
That is because
In
of
Tamil
the
Nadu, we say it's
fermentation.
Palaya Sadam, no?
Yes, that is very good. It's a great probiotic actually.
Probiotic.
Because of the fermentation that happens with rice. But when we store something like a biryani.
It is said that it removes all the resistant starch. Storing for 24 hours, it removes the resistant starch and it will lower the glycemic index of the rice.
Which is possible with, actually it is possible with certain varieties of rice actually. And so our usual common poni rice and jeera, the poni rice and the red rices, this is a great option. But when you cook with a lot of masalas, etc., then your glycemic index becomes high. Or when you reheat it, also the glycemic index goes up. So, but Paris rice is a very, very good probiotic, an excellent probiotic. And also it will always have a little bit tinge of something like a buttermilk to be added to it so that the probiotic aspect of it is useful. And the reason also that low glycemic index and the probiotic aspect comes in because of its action on the gut. So the gut uses that, it's a fine balance in the gut where the short chain fatty acids use the beta glucuronidase to metabolize the estrogen. So it's a fine balance that is maintained, which the old rice does this.
I think if I can
See,
add
we have
one
a
more.
paper, so it is not only for other things, even for prevention of colon cancer. It is much touted to be a instrument. So now it is being supplied in Stanley Medical College in GE department, Paresa.
Wow.
Because they have published a paper. So I think we should know about all the, because ultimately, even for brain health, gut health is important. Now, guts, we do not talk about brain being the primary thing. Now we talk about the gut being the primary organ, which regulates everything. So that is really very important.
70% of the immune system lies in the gut. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening us with all other options available apart from the routine things which we know, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for this beautiful opportunity.
Sahiti, can we have the quiz answers, please, quickly?
Yeah.
And people who participated and the winner.
Have delegate who has got all answers correct. We are really very happy. 28 people had participated, although there are a lot of delegates, only 28 had participated. Anyway, it is a good number. And the winner is Sukanya B from Chennai. Congratulations. We are really very happy to note that you have got all answers correct. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Sahiti.
I think you can give the answers, no? Meera?
Yeah, it's been sent. Sahiti, can you display the answers if you don't mind?
Okay.
It's been sent. So prevalence of mood disorders in menopausal women?
It's C, ma'am.
70 to 90%. I've sent the separate answers as well.
Just a second, ma'am. I'll open the answers. PPT.
Yeah. Dementia. The second question, so that we don't waste time. Dementia and cognitive dysfunction is more marked in women with surgical menopause than natural. The answer is true. Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia, which is the second commonest. Answer is vascular. According to WHIMS study, HD in older women for dementia, no benefit, no harm. Answer is B. Alzheimer's disease has genetic predisposition. However, there are various modifiable risk factors such as all of the above: exercise, nutrition, stress management, which is what we learned today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Shanti ma'am and Meera ma'am, for giving us a wonderful opportunity to have this interactive session. I enjoyed really well.
Thank you all for your participation and interaction.
And Dr. Preetika Chari has really dinned into our brain that we have to look for good in situations, and this too shall pass. And the importance of me time and being kind to ourselves, and of course self-audit. Audit is essential everywhere, and about our growth mindset. So all these points were really helpful to inbuilt the resistance, resilience in us in menopausal stage. And Dr. Sujata has talked about menopause being a stage of metamorphosis. I really love that word. And that menopausal, post-menopausal zest is essential to manage all these things. And Kushali has nicely talked about the various things which are helpful in the Ayush systems. And it is essentially whole body treatment, whole body approaches, but individuality is the key. She has given us simple carry-home messages like aromatherapy, lavender oil, box breathing, which is quite commonly used in pranayamas, and of course omega-3 fatty acids and probiotics, flax seeds. And we all know now very well that high glycemic food and processed foods are not good at all in all stages of life. And the importance of apps to help us too. So, and the simple B complex, which really helps, and the soy lecithin. And I would like to know from Dr. Kushali and Dr. Sujata about the cognitive behavior therapy. So much stress is on that. And how do you all exactly practice cognitive behavior therapy? So much is talked about that.
So, Dr. Shanti, it's actually a very structured session and based on one individual symptoms and the profile they come up with. So it's basically cognitions means the way we think, right? And that reflects in our behavior, to put it very simply. So what CBT does is it helps us to evaluate and be aware of the way we think and how sometimes we catastrophize and how we can change that in order to move forward, and rather than these thoughts hindering with our behavior. And so that's very essential, very effective in depression, anxiety, panic attacks. And so that is what CBT is all about.
Okay, thank you.
I would also like to add two things in this note. I always tell Madam that it is interesting to know that obstetrician and gynecologists have longer lifespan and longevity compared to many other practitioners. And today, Dr. Pratika Chari talked about resilience. So we already have it in us. It is just that we need to self-appreciate it more and cultivate and practice it more. And as part of self-care, this is a good tip which I tell as part of lifestyle medicine. Instead of going out for a meal, a dinner, or a lunch when you have celebrations, treat yourself with self-care. If a gym membership for a gift, or a fitness app subscription as a gift, or going out for a walk together with your friends, or going to a spa, having reflexology. They're all beautiful gift ideas and not just meal. It's not just food all the time for celebration. These are better ways of celebrating as well as taking care.
Well said, Meera. Okay. Agiti, can we have a picture together? Agiti? Meera, can you take it?
Yeah. I'll go to the gallery. Can everybody switch on? So,
Rajalakshmi.
yeah. Taken.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The sixth webinar has gone on well with a lot of messages, and I thank the chairpersons as well as the speakers for having given good messages, and also our guest and guest of honor who have really given us wise tips. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Shanti
you all.
ma'am and Meera ma'am, for the opportunity.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you.
attending and lovely interaction. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for
you.
organizing this.